How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper. My goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading, whether price is going up or down. Bankman-Fried remains out on bond, but judge warns revocation proceedings possible in future. Sam Bankman-Fried remains out on bond, but the New York judge overseeing this criminal fraud court case said that could change if he continues to defy court conditions. Federal prosecutors sent a letter to the court earlier this week claiming that Bankman-Fried used a VPN to watch the Super Bowl, but there's some questions of, did he really use a VPN to watch the Super Bowl, or what was he doing? And they are proposing stricter measures, including blocking Bankman-Fried from using cell phones, computers, or any internet-connected device, except in limited case-related circumstances. During Thursday's hearing, to discuss the letter, Bankman-Fried's lawyer, Mark Cohen, apparently didn't hear that because he was saying that these are draconian measures and argued that Bankman-Fried needed to access the internet and applications like Google Docs to effectively prepare for his trial. Well, limited case-related circumstances would allow that. But U.S. District Court Judge Lewis Kaplan seemed to disagree with Cohen on Thursday, and even suggested that the government's proposed measurements might not be enough to keep Bankman-Fried from meddling in the case or otherwise breaking the conditions of his bail. Kaplan told the court that he had probable cause to believe Bankman-Fried may have committed witness tampering, which is a felony, and expressed doubt that he was, in fact, using a VPN to watch football. What was he doing watching a football game on a VPN? If that was, in fact, what he was doing, that someone can just turn on the television and watch for nothing, Kaplan asked. So why would you pay to watch a VPN on a football game? The conditions for his bail were no encryption, Kaplan told them. If there is one person in this courtroom who knew that VPNs use encryptions, I'm guessing it would be your client. Concerned about their proposal to install monitoring, Kaplan told prosecutors he was concerned about their proposal to install modern software on a single cell phone and laptop in Bankman-Fried's home in California, where he is currently living, because he didn't think it was enough. The prosecution's suggestion, Kaplan argued, would leave Bankman-Fried in a house with a bunch of unmonitored devices that are perfectly capable of doing what you were trying to stop him from doing. A prosecutor told a judge that there was not really a solution to keep Bankman-Fried from accessing his parents' devices. Oh, I think there is a solution, Kaplan quipped. It's just not one anyone has suggested yet. The judge brought up the possibility that if Bankman-Fried continues to defy the terms of his bail revocation proceedings, a hearing to determine whether Bankman-Fried must await his trial in prison could be on the table. Bitcoin miner CleanSpark buys 20,000 ASICs, expands capacity by 37%. The new rigs will add 2.44 exahashes per second to its existing computational force of 6.6 exahashes per second. I'll do some math real quick because later in the article you'll see why. 2.4 plus 6.6 is 10. 1 exahash equal 1 quintillion hashes, inputs for solving the complex math problems required to mine new blocks. That brings the company's total hash rates to 9 exahashes somehow, not 10. A 37% rise, comprising 2.8% of the entire Bitcoin network's hash rate. It was probably easier for rounding purposes. The machines purchased by the firmware were Antminer S19J Pro Plus units, which are 22% more productive than the Antminer S19J Pro announced in 2021. I'm surprised with a naming scheme like that, the Ethernet cable's not sold separately like iPhone's headphones. Deliveries are expected by earlier next month, with all batches arriving at the company's mining campuses by the end of May. The expansion comes only 2 months after American mining giants like Core Scientific filed for bankruptcy, while others like Iris Energy saw a swath of mining machines liquidated due to failures in paying down their debt. Iris, however, recently announced plans to rebuild its capacity earlier this week. If you're interested in that, go see our earlier video where we covered this. While it's premature to call a bull market setting in, upward price momentum is making miners much more optimistic, said CleanSpark Chief Communications Officer Isaac Hiawat in an email. Sorry if I botched that last name, I probably did. Especially when you compare today's BTC prices to the tail end of 2022 when miners were seeing higher energy costs. Bitcoin's 40% climb makes mining more profitable. Data from Glassnode last month suggested that the average Bitcoin miner returned to a position of net profit when the asset reclaimed $18,800. Despite the momentum, his company is yet to enter hodl mode. We continue to sell a major portion of our Bitcoin and reinvest it into infrastructure and machines, he wrote, which is a smart idea to keep your business growing and not hold on to assets that could decline at any time. And that's it. Binance admits to compliance missteps, but now talks with the US regulators. Leading cryptocurrency exchange Binance had gaps in regulatory compliance in the first years after its launch in 2017. The company's chief strategy officer, Patrick Hemman, told Wall Street Journal in an interview. Binance had missteps during the implementation of its security measures, such as the KYC protocol and the AML rules designed to combat money laundering. The CSO also disclosed that the lapses, which have since been tackled as Binance improved its security protocols and workforce, occurred 2 years after the company's establishment while pushing for global expansion. Hillman blamed the shortcomings on a lack of staffing as the exchange's small team was stretched thin, focusing on compliance, cybersecurity, and expansion at the time. It is a tremendous burden. As a result, there are some gaps in our compliance system in the first 2 years, he said. The firm improved its headcount with more than 750 employees over the last 2 years, Hillman said. Binance also recently hired a new chief compliance officer, Noah Perlman, a former chief operating officer at rival exchange Gemini. The DOJ, IRS, SEC, and CFTC have been looking into Binance, its business structure, and financial reserves over the past few years. The CFTC began investigating Binance in March 2021 to determine whether the company violated U.S. laws by offering its products and services to residents of the country without proper authorization. Claims of insider trading triggered by a separate investigation by the DOJ and collaborating with the IRS is also underway. Hillman said Binance would not reveal its discussions with the regulators, but the exchange may be required to pay a fine on the penalties or even pay a higher price for remediation, so they may have to restructure their company. The CSO further stated that the company is highly confident and feeling really good about where those discussions are going, noting that authorities are very collaborative. Coinbase says client assets are segregated and secure following proposed SEC rule change. Coinbase is confident that its Coinbase Custody Trust Co. will remain a qualified custodian even if new rules proposed by the SEC come into play. Coinbase Custody Trust is a New York-based business that provides cold storage for third-party investors' digital assets. The SEC on Wednesday published a rule change proposal that seeks to enforce much stricter provisions governing where registered investment advisors can custody cryptocurrency on behalf of their investors, limiting such investments to what are known as qualified custodians. These custodians must adhere to a stricter set of regulations, including keeping funds in a siloed account unmixed with their own funds or those of other organizations. His firm supports the SEC's proposal and fully agrees that investors deserve to feel confident their assets are safe. Gruwal added that its custodial clients' assets are segregated and secured. We commend the SEC for recognizing Coinbase Custody Trust Co. is a qualified custodian, and after today's SEC proposed rulemaking, we are confident that it will remain a qualified custodian, said Gruwal. In the proposal, Gensler said that though some cryptocurrency and lender platforms may claim to... In the proposal, the Green Goblin, Gary Gensler himself, said that though some crypto trading and lending platforms may claim to custody investors' crypto, that does not mean they are qualified custodians. Hey, I think we lost an article here. I guess not. So on to the charts. Really? Over on the daily, we came up and hit 25k, and then we fell flat pretty dramatically. That is not the best sign to see, as we have a big long upper shadow candle. That's a bearish candle. We did smash through 2 resistances and then failed to make them support. We don't have any volume here to create resistance from the previous fall we had, so we should have had no problem just blasting through this zone once we entered it. If we do fall onto this purple box and break it, that would be a very bearish sign to see. Our VWAP is coming down, our momentum wave's kind of starting to curl off, and our money flow is starting to come up with tomorrow's candle, but as far as yesterday, it kind of started to taper down. We do have a red dot here. Our stochastic's really strong though, suggesting the RSI has a lot of strength and could turn around. So we do have a possibility to bounce off this SMA and come back up. At 4 hour, we are kind of rounding off here. We have some dots, 2 red dots. We have a momentum wave that's curling down. Our stochastic's coming down pretty strong, and our RSI is falling. Our VWAP's coming down as well, and our money flow is just starting to slowly leach out. That's not the best thing to see. Money flow might be going into stablecoins, and you'll see why I say that when we look at the altcoins. In the 2 hour, our money flow is coming down even more. Not quite as quickly as the 4 hour. It's a little more trying to bump up and prevent a dropout. But you can see our money flow is coming down pretty strongly. Our VWAP did try to cross up, and that's when just after we broke that 20k level, and then we came back down pretty aggressively. Our stochastic's really weak right now, suggesting the RSI might not have that much strength on the lower time frames. So the lower to medium term, we might not have too much strength left here. So if we do hit this box, hopefully we bounce up and break this 24k area. If we bounce off and then reject the 24k, I'd look for a break of this box, at which point I would not feel too bullish about the market, because then we would went into an area we should have broken no problem, and then fallen back into an area of resistance and support. If we look at XRP, we did fall back into our head and shoulders. We're in our right shoulder here. If we zoom out, for those of you that may not have seen it, here's our shoulder, our head, and our other shoulder. So we did fall back into this pattern. That's why I don't always get rid of patterns when you blow through it, because that doesn't always mean that you're guaranteed that pattern is completely invalidated. We are trying to bounce back out and then validate it again. We'll have to kind of see what tomorrow brings. Our stochastic is starting to curl, and our VWAP is starting to round off here, and our momentum's starting to round off here as well. So those are some bearish signs to see, even though we're trying to pump up. Our money flow did just peak into the green though, so if that money flow keeps in the green over the next few candles, that would be a bullish. Well, this is a daily, so the next 2 or 3 days, we'd want to see that money flow keep moving up. If that money flow comes back down, that'll be a very bearish sign to see. Over on the 4 hour, you can see our stochastic's rounding off and coming down, and our RSI is rounding off and coming down, as well as the momentum wave. So not looking too good on the 4 hour. Our money flow is coming out pretty aggressively compared to Bitcoin, and our VWAP's coming down pretty sharply too. The 4 hour, you can see we did try to make a bull flag, however we fell flat and it did not play out. Over on the 2 hour, we did get a red X, and our stochastic is oversold, but that also does mean that our RSI has no strength, so we could see our RSI start to fall and price follow. Our VWAP is trying to push up, so if we do keep pushing up, that could help keep the stochastic go up, and maybe we won't see other indicators leach down. Our momentum wave is trying to break the neutral zone right now, so that is the bearish sign. And our money flow is coming down pretty constant. It doesn't have like a swing up, too strong of a swing up. You have a little bit of a peak, but it's not higher peak or anything. If we look over at algo, we do have this ascending channel, and we are trying to come back into it. Our money flow is coming up on algo, so unlike Bitcoin and XRP where that money flow is kind of going flat and being iffy, we are coming up into algo, so that's a positive sign. Our stochastic's starting to round off, our VWAP's starting to round off, and our momentum wave is starting to round off just after breaking this neutral zone, so those are some bearish signs to see. But the money flow is our longer term, and our VWAP and momentum waves are shorter medium term trends. Our 4 hour is coming down with our stochastic and our RSI. VWAP's coming down, money flow's coming down. So 4 hour we look pretty much like XRP and Bitcoin. So that's why I say with money flow coming out, XRP, algo, Bitcoin, your altcoins, and your main coin, then it's likely going into your stable coins as people are getting more of a wait and see. Like they want to wait and see what's going to happen with the market. We have a red X happening here with a bearish divergence highlighting. So that is a bearish sign to see. If we see that in Bitcoin, that could spell disaster for the whole market, or at least a drop. VWAP is trying to push up on the 2 hour, just like XRP, but it's kind of flattening out here. Our RSI is falling pretty continually. We're not really bouncing up and holding too strong. We got a little bit and then we just fell and dropped pretty hard. Like that RSI is not having any issue going down right now. Money flows kind of going down, wants to come up right now. Hopefully we could see it start to come up. If we look at the 15, we could get a very short term. Our money flow is in the red, so that means short term our trend is in the red, and if this money flow doesn't come up, then it's likely will stay in the red. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a wonderful night.